Hello, everyone. This is Yoko. In this channel, I'll be sharing information in English that I've gathered regarding events happening in China, which might not be widely known in other countries. I obtain information from various media sources, and I'd appreciate your comments on the video content. English is not my native language, so I'm using an AI speaker to read the content. If you find the content interesting, please consider subscribing to the channel and offering your support. Now, let me introduce you to the fascinating world of China. Today, I would like to talk about the Chinese economy. But before diving into the main topic, I'd like to share an episode that gained attention in Shanghai. In China, many Japanese people live not only for studying or business assignments but also for personal businesses. Some run restaurants, manage stores, and engage in various personal enterprises. What caught my interest was the lively social interactions among Japanese individuals, which is unique to those who have experiences living abroad. In contrast to Japan, where people don't often gather simply because they are Japanese, in foreign countries, especially in places with a significant Japanese presence like Shanghai, many Japanese people gather based on common hometowns, interests, blood types, and more. What stood out overseas, in my opinion, is the active socialization among Japanese people. In Shanghai, a considerable number of Japanese residents would gather for various reasons, such as shared hometowns or blood types. However, the reasons themselves were not as important. The key aspect was that Japanese individuals came together to share meals. At the time, many Japanese, including those involved in business, shared a common observation. They noticed that Chinese customers tended to spend more money than Japanese customers. Some argued that, from a business perspective, Chinese customers were more profitable than Japanese customers, claiming that Chinese customers were willing to spend substantial amounts in a single shopping trip. It wasn't clear whether this observation was due to cultural differences or the economic conditions at the time. In Japan, many were expressing opinions about Japan's decline and China's rise. Some argued that this spending behavior was due to cultural differences, asserting that Chinese people spend money more freely while Japanese people are more frugal. They discussed how this consumption behavior contributed to China's development. Now, revisiting this topic, let's explore how the situation has been changing. In present-day China, there is a growing trend among the youth known as the thrifty economy. While the term thrifty may sound negative, it essentially signifies a very economical way of living. Specifically, young people, particularly in their daily consumption, are making efforts to minimize their expenditures, primarily on meals. In Japan, the concept of canteens might not be familiar, but in China, these subsidized canteens are created for low-income elderly individuals. In Shanghai, you can get a satisfying meal for just 10 yuan, approximately 200 yen at the current exchange rate. Initially designed for the welfare of the elderly, these canteens are now widely used by young people as well. Although there's no age restriction, the majority of customers are now young people, utilizing these places to save money. Additionally, there's a widely adopted practice known as the blind box service related to leftover items. This might be unfamiliar in Japan, but it could be introduced in some places. The basic idea is that discounted food items, especially those that need to be sold on the same day, are packaged. For instance, the price might be reduced after 9 p.m. In China, this concept has expanded to include the blind box service, where customers purchase discounted items without knowing exactly what's inside. Sellers can freely package the items, and buyers expect to receive various leftover items. Recently, this blind box service for food has become very popular in China, reflecting the growing trend of the youth's thrifty economy. In Japan, when you go to the supermarket late at night, items are indeed cheaper, and consumers have the freedom to choose. For example, today, if sushi rolls are on sale, you might decide to buy them, or if yakitori is discounted, you might choose to purchase it. However, even if things are cheaper, you still have the option to decide whether to buy them or not. If it were liver instead of chicken, you might buy it, but if it's chicken gizzards, you might decide to pass. Consumers have the power of choice. However, the blind box service is different. In this service, the stores pack up leftover items and sell them at a low price to consumers who had made reservations. Until consumers open the box, they don't know what's inside, but the price is significantly lower. Although there's no guarantee, consumers accept it, and such services are available. In China today, quite a few people are using this service. Reserving these blind boxes can now be done online, and young people in China even make reservations during work hours, picking up the boxes on their way home after finishing overtime. So, this service has gained popularity among the youth in China. In essence, the movement to save on food expenses is rapidly spreading in China. Ultimately, what was often said when I was in Shanghai, that Chinese people are good spenders or that they engage in bold consumption, is not because of inherent confidence or a cultural difference. Now, with the fear of unemployment and the uncertainty of not seeing a significant increase in wages even with hard work, people are becoming more cautious. In such an economic environment, behavior patterns are influenced, leading to a thrifty or frugal economy. This shift is not due to differences in national character or culture, rather, it's a result of the economic environment. Contrary to what was previously thought, that Chinese people engage in bold consumption, it's more accurate to say that when the economy is expanding or expected to expand, people are more active in consumption. When the economy contracts, people tend to adopt a thrifty and economical approach. This has real implications for various industries. As consumers become more frugal, corporate performance deteriorates, and companies, in turn, are forced to adopt cost-saving measures. In this context, the government might consider it better to cover the negative impact on private consumption caused by the shift to a thrifty economy by undertaking significant public consumption. However, the current Chinese government is itself adopting a thrifty economic approach. For example, within government departments, when it comes to purchasing items like ballpoint pens, instead of each department independently buying its required quantity, they are now pooling their needs and making collective purchases. This change is not a result of national character or cultural differences but rather a consequence of the economic environment. Contrary to the previous notion that Chinese people engage in bold consumption, people tend to consume actively when the economy is expanding or expected to expand. Conversely, when the economy contracts, individuals tend to adopt a thrifty and economical approach. This has real implications for various industries. As consumers become more frugal, corporate performance deteriorates, and companies are forced to adopt cost-saving measures. In this context, the government might consider it better to cover the negative impact on private consumption caused by the shift to a thrifty economy by undertaking significant public consumption. However, the current Chinese government is itself adopting a thrifty economic approach. For example, within government departments, when it comes to purchasing items like ballpoint pens, instead of each department independently buying its required quantity, they are now pooling their needs and making collective purchases. When quantities are consolidated, it becomes easier to lower the purchase price. Saying I'll buy 100 or I'll buy 1,000 is more effective for the seller than just stating I'll buy 10. By doing so, businesses can convey the message that they might lose if they don't agree to sell in larger quantities. This strategy is employed when purchasing necessary items, and there is a growing trend of departments coming together to make collective purchases. By the way, when it comes to the Chinese government's procurement of goods, some viewers might suspect shady dealings. For instance, there might be assumptions that a company gets a contract for a copier in exchange for some favor. People tend to think that it's not just about the price but involves hidden connections. In the context of government contracts, there is often a perception that it's not only about the price but also about behind-the-scenes connections. To address this, there has been a push towards transparency in the bidding process. While technically there should be a bidding process, it's a complex system, and the lowest price doesn't necessarily mean the best. What makes China unique and somewhat concerning is the practice of lowering the quality after winning a contract by bidding extremely low. This is especially true in real estate-related matters. The lower the price, the better, but the buildings constructed under such circumstances can be of questionable quality. I will delve into this topic on another occasion. This common practice of choosing the cheapest option within the required specifications allows for various manipulations. Companies can criticize others for poor quality while having the chance to select the cheapest option. However, if the government is willing to pay 120 yuan for something that is originally worth around 100 yuan, the economy might seem to be thriving, although it's not an ideal way. This creates a situation where companies who were benefiting from cozy relationships with the government might struggle to make substantial profits. In essence, companies that used to thrive on their connections with the government may find it challenging to maintain similar profits in this changing landscape. In the end, companies might have to shift their focus from cozying up to government officials without much merit to producing quality products. This transition might be challenging for some businesses. This move towards transparency in the bidding process, though delayed, is an essential step to reduce corruption and ensure fair practices. It is a mechanism designed to minimize the negative impacts of local governments' financial resources flowing out. This concludes our discussion for now. Until next time.